He's got the story, he's got the fight, bringing you the truth, day and night. For liberty's sake, we're taking flight. Go right with Peter Boykin, it's feeling right. Go right, go right, go right news. With Peter Boykin, we're making moves. Freedom and liberty, always on the rise. Tune into the truth and open your eyes. Reel it on Baroos with Peter Boykin. We're making moves. Freedom and liberty, always on the rise. Tune in to the truth and open your eyes.
In a dramatic turn in our nation's capital, a last-minute spending bill was torpedoed by President-elect Donald Trump and Elon Musk, alongside conservative lawmakers. The bill, a massive 1,547-page document, was criticized for its lack of transparency and for including provisions that many see as contrary to conservative principles. And a lot of pork, folks, a lot of pork. And to let you know, this news is ever changing. So by the time you hear this, the news has probably changed. And if it hasn't, the lights are off in the Capitol building. Bring the shutdown on as well as I'm concerned. But if not, they'll find some way to kick the can down the road a little bit, at least until Donald Trump's in office. And then the Democrats will blame Donald Trump. Now, Trump's stance on Truth Social was clear. Quote, Republicans must get smart and tough. If Democrats threaten to shut down the government unless we give them everything they want, then call their bluff. Musk echoed the sentiment on X, Twitter, advocating that for no bills to pass until Trump's inauguration, which some people are like, oh my God, Musk, shut up. Nobody elected you. We don't want a shadow president. Yeah, well, Musk is running DOGE, the Department of Government expenditures or evaluations or whatever it is to cut the budget in a good way. That bill included excessive spending. Vivek Vamswari highlighted $380 billion in new spending, self-serving provisions, pay raises, and new health benefits for Congress members alongside protection from federal subpoenas. We'll talk about it a little bit later. Censorship concerns, continued funding for the Global Engagement Center, accused of funding censorship against conservative media. Unrelated expenditures, funding for a new football stadium in Washington, D.C. Public health overreach, expansion of the Pandemic and All Hazards Preparedness Act, potentially allowing for mandates and research that could compromise individual liberties. Elon Musk celebrated the bill's demise, stating, your elected representatives have heard you, and now the terrible bill is dead. The voice of the people has triumphed, vox populi, vox Dei. With the government funding, I'm sure I pronounced that wrong, but with the government funding deadline looming, a clean continuing resolution is being considered to push contentious issues to the next administration. Now, here's an opinion. The situation underscores a broader crisis in our constitutional republic where legislative transparency and conservative values are at stake. Speaker Johnson's strategy, whether from naivety or negotiation, has been questioned. But he come through and he said, maybe we should skip that, because he knows when Donald Trump takes office, Donald Trump can say, you can get them out, and they'll do something about it. Meanwhile, Republicans announced a last-minute funding deal to stave off shutdown, but unclear if it's passed. It can pass, and I don't think it did. In a scramble to avoid government closure, House Republicans proposed a new funding plan after Trump disapproved of the original. This new measure includes or excludes the controversial pay raises for Congress and pharmaceutical reforms. However, its passage passage remains uncertain, with conservative factions expressing reluctance. Pay raises for Congress. The monster CR bill has the political right up in arms. The proposed continuing resolution included provisions for congressional pay raises, igniting fury, heat, whatever, among conservatives who argue this is an inappropriate use of taxpayer money, especially without addressing critical spending reforms. But I gotta give you this FYI, folks. For those complaining about Congress trying to get a pay raise, it's been since 2009 since their last raise. Would you like to work about 24/7 without a pay raise for that many years, especially with the cost of living going through the roof, even if it's partially their problem? Plus, it's becoming increasingly dangerous to be a legislature, and they're not paying for these people's security. Remember, Congress members don't get government-funded travel or housing while in D.C. A lot of that probably has to do with their campaign funding, but in the end, they're having to get funds from people, and they're not getting it from us. They're getting from big business and big whatever it is to fund all this because there's so much money in politics. The last time members of Congress received a pay raise was in 2009. It is now 2014. 5 years. And I don't even think it was that big of a pay raise. However, a provision in a recent spending bill, if passed, would mark their first pay raise, potentially boosting their salary up 3.8% or $6,600 for 2025. Also, though, when they run for office, because it's a 10% percentage of their salary, it actually increases it to make it harder for you to actually run for office, because it's going to cost more money for you to run for office. So it's a catch-22 kind of thing. Here's a video to talk about it. It might not agree fully with my opinion, but here's some more information from the Daily Caller Shorts.
A 1,500-page continuing resolution has everyone upset. I mean, look at this thing. Mr. Doge himself, Vivek, took to TikTok to slam the bill.
Congress is about to pass a bill that blows away your taxpayer money, but they made it over 1,500 pages long so you wouldn't read it. I did you a favor. I read it for you. It's supposed to be about keeping government operations open and providing disaster relief aid to hurricane victims, which I'm sympathetic to. But if you read the bill carefully, it contains pay raises for members of Congress, and I'm not making this up, an expansion of their federal health benefits. It contains all kinds of special interests and pork funding, including opening up a new stadium in Washington, D.C. It renews the Global Engagement Center, which is a key node of the censorship industrial complex. And the worst part is, they didn't want you to know about any of it, and that's why they made this a last-minute jam job. The reason I'm co-heading Doge is I think we need outsiders to bring actual accountability to Washington, D.C. So feel free to call your congressman and let him know how you feel about it.
The other Doge king, Elon, has been posting on X about it basically non-stop. Several congressmen have spoken out against it as well.
It's a total dumpster fire. I think it's garbage. This is what Washington, D.C. has done. This is why I ran for Congress, to try to stop this. And sadly, this is happening again.
It's opposite what the Doge Commission is trying to do. Am I voting for it? No, I'm not.
Swamp's going to swamp, right? 1,400 pages. Still haven't seen the text. Multiple subject matters. Since we've been given the majority again, we're adding $330 billion in literally totally unpaid for additional deficit spending just since November 5th in 45 days. I don't see how that's doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Everybody's packing in what they want here and there and using the pressure in the situation of the government shutdown. Of course, tragically, farmers are being dangled. Americans that suffered through natural disasters, they're being dangled with disaster relief. And I think that's incredibly unfair.
Meanwhile, Speaker Mike Johnson is out defending this monstrosity.
You know who also does not like this? Elon Musk, the world's richest man, just tweeted, this bill should not pass. The only way you're going to be able to pass it now, Mr. Speaker, is with Democrats. What's your message to Elon Musk?
Well, I was communicating with Elon last night. Elon and Vivek and I are on a text chain together. And I was explaining to them the background of this. And Vivek and I talked last night about almost midnight. And he said, look, I get it. He said, we understand you're in an impossible position. Everybody knows that. Remember, guys, we still have just a razor-thin margin of Republicans. So any bill has to have Democrat votes. They understand the situation. They said, it's not directed to you, Mr. Speaker, but we don't like the spending. I said, guess what, fellas? I don't either. We got to get this done because here's the key. By doing this, we are clearing the decks, and we are setting up for Trump to come in roaring back with the America First agenda.
But hey, at least our favorite members of Congress will get a pay raise out of it.
Members are giving themselves a pay raise. Do you guys deserve a pay raise?
Well, that's news to me. It's good news. You know, what has it been, 10 years or 14 years of no COLA, no change at all? I think it's about time something's done.
You support giving yourselves a pay raise?
How would I not know about a pay raise?
But I mean, people look at the performance of Congress and say, why should we give them more money?
What about the media? Think about that for a second.
And we're not paid by public money.
I know you're not, but I mean, half of your listeners are not there anymore. You're still getting the same paycheck? What's going on?